So Halloween 4. So I remember when this movie came out, I was excited to hear that they were making another one with Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis. And again, I have several copies of this one. I have the Divimax that came out, I think this came out in 2007. And then I also have the 10 that came out in 2002, I believe, or 2001, excuse me. That's it right there. Comes with just a little booklet. Just kind of a breakdown and production notes. And there's the movie right there. Now, Halloween 4, I think next to Halloween 1 and 2, this is probably my third favorite in the Michael Myers saga. Love the atmosphere in this one. Love that it was kind of a simple story. A lot of people have said it's kind of a remake almost of the original Halloween. I don't see how that is true, but you know, people say what they want. I love the story of Jamie and the fact that she is Laurie Strode's daughter, that she's the only family member that Michael Myers has left, that Dr. Loomis comes out of retirement once Michael escapes again and goes after him in Haddonfield. I also love Ellie Cornell. I think she was great as Rachel. I love the dynamic between the two girls. You know, Rachel being Jamie's adoptive sister, and she's protecting her throughout the night as Michael pursues them. And there's some great action in this. I think, you know, they had it was a good film. It was just a fun, good time at the movies, and you know, it's another one that I love so much, and I think it needs more respect. Some people write this one off just like Halloween 2 and think, oh, it's just another sequel, will never compare to the original, and I think it's actually a really good film. And again, I have no problem with the mask in this movie. So many people have problems with the masks as they went on in further sequels, but I think the mask in this movie is amazing. And you know, I still think it has one of the best endings of any of the Halloween films. A shocking ending that I think is still creepy to this day, even though the movie's, you know, over 20, I think it's 23 years now that it's been out. But I think really, really good film. Love Halloween 4. Now, let's move this one down. Slide over Halloween 5. Now, Halloween 5 was a mixed bag. I was not a big fan of this one, and I think there's a couple factors as to why. I never understood the whole Michael being kept alive by the hermit once he's blown out of the mine shaft at the beginning of the film. I thought that was kind of stupid. I thought that they should have just had Michael being trapped in the mine for a year and then getting free. And the psychic link between Jamie and Michael was pretty cool. I liked it a little bit, and I understood, you know, how they did it. I didn't think that, I don't know, it's like the story wasn't very good. I mean, I'm sure people have seen this film by now, but one of the big problems for me in this film is the killing of Rachel. You had a great character, I think along the lines of Jamie Lee Curtis in the original films, and for her to be killed off the way she was a very big disappointment, and something that I've never really gotten over from this film, and I resent this film for, and the writers for doing that to her. The other thing was I didn't really care for the character of Tina. I thought she was kind of grating. She was kind of stupid, and I know Jamie's trying to protect her, but I just didn't think it was a very good story. I thought Michael was very creepy in it, but again, I think they just didn't have a good story for this. And I didn't like that the Myers house was this gigantic mansion. The one element of Halloween 5 I thought was interesting, and I wish they would have explored it a little bit more, was the man in black. A lot of people said they didn't like that element of it, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, who is this man, and why is he walking around town, and what does he have to do with Michael? And I thought that was really kind of interesting and kind of creepy. One of the original ideas for Halloween 5, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, it was in Fangoria right before the movie came out, was that Dr. Loomis was supposed to die in this film. It wasn't really clear at the end of the film after he beats Michael to death with the shotgun or the tranquilizer gun that he hits him with, after shooting him several times and Michael not going down. But Loomis was supposed to die in this film, and the Man in Black was supposed to take over. Now, no one knew who the Man in Black was supposed to be. Some people thought it was supposed to be Michael Myers' brother. Somehow it was supposed to be related to Michael in some way, because there is a small scene in the film when Loomis is exploring the Myers house where you see the thorn symbol on the Man in Black's wrist, and you also see it on Michael's wrist. So, you know, who knows what the original storyline was supposed to be for Halloween 6, because it took him so long to get to Halloween 6 years to get to the 6th film, that I think a lot of the story ideas that were set up in this film, Halloween 5, were kind of lost by the time Halloween 6 rolled around. But good performances. Donald Pleasence, of course, was awesome in this film. I think they made him a little bit more insane in this film, but, you know, it goes to without saying. I mean, that's, I think, how he was supposed to be, given the circumstances. And then, of course, Danielle Harris is just amazing. Amazing child actor. I think one of the best child actors, and she did an amazing job as Jamie again. And this is the tin that came out in 2000. I'll open it up to show you guys what it looks like. It comes with a book. There's the disc right there. And the book is pretty cool because it has actual stills from the film. There's some good ones of Michael in here. Let's see. This one right there, it's a good image. I do think Don Shanks was a very good Michael Myers. He was very scary. I thought the unmasking was kind of stupid, though, because you didn't really see his face. It's like they built it up. I remember when the movie came out, they built it up that Michael's unmasked in this film. You never see his face. And it's just a nice little collection piece. I don't think you can buy this in too many places anymore. Okay, now we are on to Halloween 6. Okay, Halloween 6. Now I have Halloween 6 in this kind of collection, which includes Mother's Boys for some reason, and Halloween H20 and Halloween Resurrection. I'll talk about these two in a minute. For the longest time, I resisted buying Halloween Curse of Michael Myers in its theatrical form. Now, I do have it in the producer's bootleg, which I bought back in 2003. This was a very good rendition, or not rendition, but version of it, or editing of it, because what they did was, I used to have it on videotape, and it was very grainy, very hard to watch. You couldn't make out a lot of the images. What these guys ended up doing was they spliced it into the theatrical cut, all of the cut scenes. Now, Halloween 6, I remember when it came out, and of course by the time it had come out, Donald Pleasence had already passed away. So I was curious what the final confrontation between Michael and Loomis was going to be like, because I was assuming, you know, that's what was going to happen. And I was very disappointed in Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers theatrical cut. And for several factors. One, I think Joe Chappelle was a pretty crappy director. There were a couple of things they got pretty right. I thought the house looked good for the Myers house, better than it looked in Halloween 5, where it was this gigantic mansion. It was never meant to be that. It was a small house. I did like the fact that it tied into the Strode family. You saw Laurie Strode's father's brother, who was, you know, a realtor as well, moving his family into the old Myers house. That Kara Strode's son is seeing visions of the Man in Black. He's hearing the voices that Michael heard, which told him to kill his family. That was interesting. The fact that Loomis had retired and was kind of like out of it, you know, and then he, you know, is brought back out of retirement once he hears that Jamie Lloyd is still alive, that she'd been held captive for 6 years by the cult, that was, you know, and she was able to escape and call a radio show, and the message got out to Loomis and to Tommy Doyle, who Paul Rudd played, which was, I mean, he did a good job, and it was his first movie. My problems with the film: number one, they didn't cast Jamie Lloyd they didn't cast Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd. I know she's not in it very well, very long in the theatrical version, but she was an integral part. As much as Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis were a part of the series, she was too. And for them not to give her credit and to have allowed her to, give her character a proper swan song kind of pissed me off. And the way that Jamie Lloyd is dispatched in Halloween 6, the theatrical cut, is horrible. Just very degrading for a character we had come to love in 2 previous films. The other thing was the ending. Made no sense. I hated the ending of the theater cut. I still do. It doesn't make any sense. I know Joe Chappelle reconceived it after Dr. Loomis passed away, or Donald Pleasance passed away, and they couldn't use Loomis anymore. And plus, he was never a big fan of Loomis, so what they had done was they had test screened the film. People didn't like the ending for some stupid reason, and they redid it, and it was just Michael going berserk for no particular reason. Almost like you can't control him, but then, Tommy Doyle beating him to death with a pipe, and then him disappearing when Loomis goes back into the hospital, and you just hear Loomis screaming. It's like, you don't know what happens. It doesn't make any sense. It's all ambiguous. It's very silly. So for the longest time, I resisted buying it, and then I saw it was in this thing for $5, and I was like, okay, it's worth $5. I'll buy it. Now, the producer's cut is such a better movie. And I'm so surprised that Dimension still hasn't put this out on DVD. It's insane. They've re-released these films I don't know how many times. Never give them any special features any more than, I think Halloween Resurrection has the most special features, but it's the same features that they had when they released it on DVD the first time. Put Halloween 6, the producer's cut, on DVD. They talked about doing it a long time ago. Put an official release out of this, because this is the definitive Halloween 6. This should have been the movie that was in theaters. It's a better film. It's got more atmosphere, much scarier. The whole story with Jamie Lloyd is very different in this. Loomis has a much bigger role in this film. The ending, I think, is really interesting, like where they could have gone in Halloween 7 if they had continued with this storyline. Just a much, much better film. Still, to this day, I'm not understanding why they didn't go this route. But again, I don't work in Hollywood, but if you guys ever get a chance to get a hold of a copy of this, it's on eBay. I'm sure you can find a copy of it pretty reasonably. It's worth it. Much, much better film. Now on to Halloween 7.